welcome back. Welcome back to Sparklight. I think this is episode 10 now or something like that. 9, 10 now, something like that. One of the two, whatever, regardless. I appreciate all you guys for, the support you've shown me all year and covering the Sparks. And, shout out to Sparks. Right now, they sit at 10 and 8. It's gonna be a interesting end to the season though. Candace is still out with her ankle sprain. Raquana Williams actually got suspended for 10 games. I think literally right after I got done, like last episode, literally like right after I got done, I think Raquana got suspended. It was like an hour later when she was suspended, which really really sucks, man, and it hurts the team a lot, especially when you had this many people down. I mean, Alexis Jones, she's still out. Like I said, Candace is still out. Elena Beard's still been out. She still has the hamstring issue. That's 4 bodies missing. They actually had to bring in Carly Samuelson, who they actually cut at the beginning of the season because they literally are just down bodies right now. Before they signed her, they had literally 7 people on the active roster. And Maria Vadia got hurt in EuroLeague, and she's out indefinitely with a knee injury. So it's going to be a very, very interesting end to the season. They played Dallas actually on the 18th, and I don't want to. Well, I'm gonna get to the game, but first, it was my first camp day that I went to. Camp day is like those games that they play that they'll have at like, I want to say, noon on like a random Thursday. And I would always be like, yo, why are they having a game at noon on Thursday? Like, it just seemed kind of weird to me, especially for viewership. Like, who's going to be able to really watch a game, noon or 9 a.m. if it's Pacific time and it's noon in, New York, like at 9 a.m. But it's camp day. So camp day is basically a day in which all of the summer camps basically can bring in, their kids and just enjoy a game. First of all, that was the first time in my life in which I felt old. Like, I don't think I've ever been around that many kids when I wasn't a kid. And it literally was the first time in my life I've ever felt old. Like, there was a video I posted when Old Town Road played, and like, the arena was like, they sung every single word. I mean, mid-game, they even cut the song off because it was trying to get back to the game. Kids still singing every single word. But I just think that's a great event, and like, I'm happy that the WNBA does that. I think that that's what the league needs. I think that's what is gonna, drive the next generation of fans, and the next generation of players as well. I don't know what the ratio, for boys to girls was there, but I mean, obviously it's summer camp, so I'm sure there were a decent amount of women, young girls in the building. And I think that, I mean, even Coach Fisher alluded to it in post game. No other league do you really get to do that. Like in the NBA, they don't have camp day. It's revenue based. They don't have camp day. The NFL, you can't do that, or they don't do that. I don't really watch too much NHL, but I don't think the NHL does it. Maybe Major League Baseball might do it. But other than that, I don't know of any, sports. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know about any sports leagues that do that consistently. Like, this is a thing. Like, they did, the camp day in LA, and then on Saturday they did a camp day with the Liberty. Where the Liberty had their own camp day. So this is like a thing. And I just think that it's great, man. Like, for one, you get the kids out, and if they have a great time, they might go back to their parents and say, yo, mom, dad, like, we want to, go see a WNBA game. And I mean, tickets are never going to be that much money. It may cost, to take your whole family out to a WNBA game, as far as like tickets, maybe $40. I mean, concessions at that point, maybe end up spending $60 for your whole family to have a great day, great evening, enjoy a professional basketball game. And also, again, like, I think it's about bringing up the next generation. Like, what if, some young girl who was there and got inspired to just be a WNBA player one day, I think that, I've been preaching this pretty much all week since then. I think that we have to remember that the league is only 23 years old. So you're just now getting to the point in which young girls who are, coming out, or, young women who are coming out have always seen this league. So it's been embedded in them since birth. Like, they don't remember a world in which the WNBA didn't exist. I remember a world when there wasn't always a WNBA. Like, I remember when like the WNBA started. But these young women now, like, they don't remember that. Like, like Cheryl Swoops and like Lisa Leslie, I like the Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, of like the WNBA. So again, I think it's important to start fandom young. I don't know. I probably wouldn't even be doing this show right now if my grandmother didn't, play those late 90s Bulls games for me, and we crowd around the TV to watch Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, to watch them win championships. I probably wouldn't be doing this show right now because I wouldn't be a fan of just the game of basketball. So it's important to just start fandom young, raise up the next generation, and have them take an interest in the game. And again, for the young ladies there, I think women playing professional basketball needs to be normalized to them. And I think that it is normalized to them because, again, they've always grown up in a world in which they've always seen, a professional women's professional basketball. And, maybe it influenced them to go home and tell their, mom or dad, like, hey, we want to play basketball. I remember when I remember, but I was even, when I, do the post game things, and I had I put the videos up. There was some girl who commented, some like super, super young kid. She had to be 9, 10 years old, commented like I was there. But that's great. Like, now she'll, maybe she'll be more receiving to, WNBA content. Maybe she'll go on the internet and like look up LA Sparks and just see what comes up because she went to the game and she had a great time and she enjoyed herself. So again, I just want to commend the league and commend the Sparks and whoever came up with that idea. I think it was a beautiful, amazing idea, and they need to have more camp days because even the energy in the building was crazy. Like, that was the loudest I've heard Staples Center for a Sparks game, and I'm pretty sure I feel like it gave the Sparks some type of home court advantage, like a real home court advantage. Like, they were loud. I'm pretty sure it was probably even kind of hard for the Dallas Wings to hear their plays. Also, in turn, that means you, as the Sparks players, have to communicate as well. Like, it's like imperative that you raise your voice, speak loud, and let people know what you're doing because the crowd is everywhere. Crowds into it, singing Old Town Road, hella loud, So, again, I just think it was a great event, man. And as far as the game, they pulled out a victory. I was impressed by the win against Dallas. They fell down early. I think I want to say about 16 in the first half. And I was like, you know what? Here I wasn't going to even fault them for losing the game. Reason being was because, they're just down so many bodies. Even Chelsea Gray picked up, I think, 3 fouls in the first half. One thing I've noticed about her recently is that she's been picking up, like, some fouls that she doesn't need to get. Like, I honor the intensity. I honor the I'm not going to just let them score mentality. I honor that, but same time, I think she has to realize when they're down as many bodies as they are, she has to stay on the court. Like, she can't afford to pick up 3 fouls and, have to go to the bench because, when she goes to the bench, there's really no other shot creator. There's nobody else who can, like, break down the defense and get shots for others as well as get shots for themselves. And right now, she's probably the only ISO scorer that they have. And I actually asked Coach about that, about how important it is to run great offensive sets and be very precise with your offense when you're down some of your ISO scorers. I know I was watching the other day, this weekend, I was watching Vegas, Seattle. And obviously, Vegas lost the game. But in the fourth quarter, there were so many shot clock violations because if Seattle didn't create offense from their defense, unless they like got somebody open through a screen or something like that, and running good sets on offense, they really couldn't score. They didn't really have anybody to take anybody off the dribble. And I think that with the Sparks being down, Candace, they're down Raquana, who might in one-on-one play, she might be the best at getting to the basket. I think Chelsea is the best at getting her shot off from pretty much anywhere. But Raquana, you really can't stay in front of her and stop her from getting to the basket. She's probably, if not the best in the league, one of the best in the league at that. And she's not there. So it's very important that they run offense. Like, you have to set good screens. You have to be very precise. You have to know how to run off a screen. You have to know how to be ready to shoot when you come off the screen. Like, these are things that you have to do because, again, you're down some of your better isolation players. But still, I was very impressed with the Dallas game, man. I think that Dallas had a chance to put them away early. I want to say in the first half, about the end of the first half, they actually were, I think, up, I want to say like 12, and then I think Chelsea got a bucket. And it was a 10-point lead going into the half, but even the way that Dallas ended the half just looked so sloppy. I think it's like 23 seconds left. First of all, they don't attempt to take the last shot. They took a shot with like 14 seconds left. I didn't hate the shot because the person was open, but you have to knock it down. And then Kyla Thornton, when she gets the offensive rebound, just shoots another shot inexplicably with like 8 seconds left. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, make sure you take the last shot, get the last shot. And I think they ended the quarter sloppy, and I think that really gave the Sparks a boost going into the second half, because I think they looked at it and was like, yo, we played awful. I think even Coach alluded to it. Like, he didn't feel like the Sparks matched the Wings' intensity. I mean, I even thought Kyla Thornton in the first half did a great job on Chelsea Gray. She was all in the face, making it tougher to dribble up the court, to the point where Sydney had to pretty much run point guard a lot of the times, because Kyla was just, like, she looked like she walked into the game and said, my only mission tonight is to stop Chelsea Gray. And it worked for about 3 quarters. Then in the third, they came out, went on, like, I think immediately like a 6-0 run, and pretty much nothing was the same after that, and they actually ended up winning the game by 5 points. Again, literally every time I come in here and I do this show, I have another game, and I'm like, yo, this is one of the better wins of the season. And I think this is, they're being shorthanded, just showing the fight that they showed. I mean, it would have been very easy to just pack it in. I mean, look, it's an early game. It was a noon start. It would have been very easy for, them to just pack it in, being down, the people they were down, and just be like, you know what, we don't have it tonight. It's all good. Try again next time. They didn't do that. They kept fighting. I think Nneka even played 36 out of 40 possible minutes. Tierra played 37 out of 40 possible minutes. So they had some people play huge minutes. Marina came in and gave them 12 off the bench. That was probably actually her better, one of her better performances on this season. I even liked how much she was handling the ball. She handled the ball a lot and only had 1 turnover in this game. So I loved how she was handling the ball. I remember, I think it was the Washington game in which she got ripped up a lot because she just wasn't using her left hand. Like, I'm even seeing as the season progresses that I feel like she's getting more comfortable being ambidextrous on the court and using both hands effectively. So I think that was one of her better games. Even like Kalani, even when she doesn't, score a lot of points, I just love the fact that she's out there being a force. Like, you have to account for her on the court. Like, when she's on the court, she's usually the biggest person out there, usually the most physically imposing person out there. And it's hard to pretty much keep her off the glass, And also, she's a good free throw shooter. She can also knock down the jump shot. And I think that she's going to be a hell of a player as she continues to grow and continues to mature and continues to get better and just continues to, again, grow as a basketball player. I think she's going to be one hell of a player. And I think the future is in great hands with Kalani Brown and with this LA Sparks roster. But still, man, throughout the rest of the season, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, look, they had this great win. And then they go up to New York and lose. They only lost by 3. Chelsea Gray had a great look at the end of the game. I mean, she pretty much dropped. Who did she drop off? I Nio Raincock. Please, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm so sorry. But like she dropped her off with a move, like hit it with a step back. She fell to the ground. Chelsea just couldn't, make the shot. But sometimes these things happen. I know they were talking about the free throw discrepancy in this game. Like the Sparks took 16 free throws, and the Liberty took 40 free throws. But sometimes I think that just comes with like the more aggressive team. And also I feel like, again, even in that game, like that was a foul that Chelsea Gray picked up in the first quarter. It was like 6-9. She didn't want to let her get a run out, which I respect. The we're not going to give up anything easy. But again, she's in a position where you're down too many bodies to pick up unnecessary fouls. And that was just an unnecessary foul. Like it's 6-9. You can just let her go because there are going to be other fouls in the game that you're going to pick up naturally from playing defense or maybe from being in the wrong spot. So you're going to pick up some fouls, but you can't pick up unnecessary ones. And I think she got 5 fouls midway through the fourth. Had to sit down in like a pivotal time in the game. So I would like to see her at least until they can get some of their women back. At least until Candace can come back. I know Raquana's out 10 games. I think they have about probably 15 games left on the season. Let me actually check that for you guys. Yeah, they have. So she's been out. I think what she got suspended 2 games ago. That means she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she'll be back on August 22nd, right? But again, we don't know when Candace is coming back. She has an ankle sprain. Clearly, it must be a little bit worse than what I originally thought it was because she's been out for a while. But yeah, she'll be back on the 22nd. They'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games when she comes back. So all isn't lost. I still think they can make the playoffs. And really for the Sparks, it's just about being healthy at the right time. As long as they can go into the playoffs healthy, I don't know if there's a team in the league that can beat them. I mean, right now, look, Asia Wilson just got hurt. Prayers up to Asia Wilson. I know the Sparks will face the Aces again on August 1st. I've have that game circled in my calendar. Like I know I was supposed to head back to Chicago and do some family stuff. But I'm like, nah, I can't miss this game. Like I can't miss the Liz Cambage, Kalani Brown matchup again. I really think that's a budding rivalry. Something that is gonna be around for a minute. I think Liz is like 27 years old. Kalani is obviously a rookie, so they're gonna be around for a minute. They're pretty much around the same size, and I think that as Kalani's profile continues to grow, you'll know more about who she is, and that'll be a pretty a marquee matchup in the league one day, and actually kind of a rivalry. Vegas and LA aren't that far away from each other anyway, so I think that'll possibly end up being a real rivalry one day. Excuse me. But again, as long as they can get healthy at the right time, I think they'll be fine. But health has just been the main concern with this team all year. I know they play the Dream tomorrow in Atlanta. Hopefully that's a victory. So actually, they play at 4 p.m. tomorrow. So when you guys hear this on Dash Radio, you might even know the outcome. But hopefully they can pull that game out. They've had not too many days off. They've had 2 days off. They played Saturday, but it was an early game. New York Atlanta isn't too far away, so it hasn't been, I guess, too strenuous of travel. I would assume they maybe left Saturday, got in on Saturday, probably had, the rest of Saturday to, get a good night's sleep, have Monday, get a good night's sleep, and then they play at 4 p.m. tomorrow, which might be actually 7 p.m. Eastern time. So they've had a little bit of time to rest. Hopefully they can pull that victory out because they need it. Look, right now they sit, let me check exactly where they sit in the standings. Um, right now they sit at 6. The Chicago Sky moved above them. Phoenix Mercury is 8 and 9, but they're right behind them. The Lynx are 10 and 9, but they're right behind them. The Storm are 12 and 8. It may be a little bit too late to catch teams like Vegas, and I think that now with Deladon being back, who went absolutely ballistic this week, it may be a little bit hard to catch, Washington or even Connecticut. Vegas might slide a little bit now that Asia is hurt. I know she has a high ankle sprain. Those usually take longer to heal than regular ankle sprains. Again, prayers up to her. But again, for the Sparks, man, I think it's just about health, man. Like that's been the one unfortunate thing all year about this team is that nobody really knows just how good they can be because they just haven't been healthy. I don't think for a single, correct me if I might be wrong, but I don't think if I go back and look, I don't think they've had their entire team a single time this year. Like their entire team. I think somebody has always been hurt. Somebody, even if it was just like Elena was hurt or Alexis might have been hurt. Maria literally played one game, went overseas, then got hurt overseas. Her thing says out indefinitely, so we don't even know if she's gonna play for the Sparks this season. So I think the most heartbreaking thing so far is that you haven't seen this team at full capacity. Now I also think that's a scary thing as well because again nobody knows. I don't even think opponents know. I don't even think the Sparks themselves know how good they can be because they just haven't had their full team. And in turn, opponents don't know. I don't think that they know how to scout for them. If they can get everybody back and in good health and in good condition going into the playoffs. And also, I think with that, you have to commend the job that Derek Fisher is doing. Like, I mean, you're trying to set up offense. You're trying to, run things. I mean, you're trying to set up your defense and everybody, to know their role. But roles keep changing because people keep going out. People keep getting hurt. So people are being asked to do, things that they maybe wouldn't have always been asked to do. But because of injury, like, people got to step up. Again, like Sydney has to run a lot of point guard. I'm not necessarily sure if Sydney would be handling the ball as much as she's been handling the ball recently if Raquana was there, or if Alexis was there, or even if Candace was there. Marina too. Like she's been having a lot of point guard duties just by necessity. Carly wasn't even on the team a week ago, and she's playing minutes now out of necessity. So I just think you have to commend the coach's job that Fisher's doing. For it to be his first year in the league, for them to have had as many injuries as they have had, for them to be 10-8, it doesn't look incredible, but I don't think it's bad. In their last 10, they're 6-4. I mean, I wish they were a little bit better on the road. On the road they're 5-6, but they have a chance to improve to 500 tomorrow when they play Atlanta. They protect home court really well. They're 5-2 at home, but you got to commend the job he's doing. I think Chelsea Gray is experiencing extreme growth. I also think that he knows how to talk to these women to motivate them, which I think is a beautiful thing. I was blessed enough to cover the Clippers last year, and Doc. When you think about a players coach in the NBA, you think about Doc Rivers. And when you think about a players coach in the WNBA, I think you got to think about Derek Fisher. I think that he's someone they respect, because he's someone that I'm sure some of them grew up watching, especially as a Los Angeles. I didn't even really understand how much of a Los Angeles legend Derek Fisher really was until I moved out here, started talking to Laker fans, and hear about the moments that they remember. And also I see a lot of Phil Jackson and Steve Kerr in his coaching style. Again, early in the season he had a large rotation when there were more people there. He was playing 10 people, but people go down, and you see why he was playing so many people, because I have to know I can trust you. And if you've never been put in that situation to get confidence, then how, for one, are you going to trust yourself? And how, two, am I going to trust you? You know, like, you don't want to be in the playoffs and, you know, you throw somebody out there and it's the first time they've been in that situation. In the playoffs ain't the first time you want to be in some situation. You want to be in that situation at some point in time during the year so that you can draw to that moment when you're in a more pivotal moment. You know, again, like, I always go back to the Quinn Cook thing. Like, I mean, Steve Kerr will play Quinn Cook and Warriors fans will complain. And you see it in the finals, again, in Game 5, I thought he made 2 of the biggest plays. But you know why? It's repetition. It's like, okay, you know what? I might have failed in this moment, but I failed enough, or I've had some success in these moments that when I get thrown out there again in this moment, I'll be fine. You know, and like, I think that he gives his players great confidence, and that's something that I appreciate. And every time you ask any of the Sparks about Fish, like, they all really, really, you know, seem to love him. And I think you got to just take your hat off to him and just, you know, commend the coaching job that he's done this season and that he's done with this team. And again, I've been saying it since day one. I don't think that it's just about, you know, this year when you talk about the Sparks. I think it's also about the future. They've been one of the more winningest teams in LA professional sports over this. Well, I mean, since the new millennium, really. And I think that you just want to continue the history that you've had. And I think that, again, I think the Sparks are in great hands. Like, even this year, like, I think that this year is something you can build off of, even next year, because so many people are getting so much valuable experience. Like, Kalani's getting valuable experience, Sydney's getting valuable experience, Chelsea's getting valuable experience, Marina's getting valuable experience because so many people are down. And I think that, again, that makes you stronger if they can get healthy and they can get to the playoffs. I think that there'll be a hard out for anybody because they'll know how to win so many different ways, man. Like, so many different players have played in so many different ways, and so many people have been in and out the lineup that I think that if you get to the playoffs and you got a full roster, you have no fear. Like, you literally have no fear. If somebody tweaks an ankle, you're like, okay, we good. We've been through this. Somebody gets in foul trouble, can't play, okay, we good. We've been through this. We done been through about every possible situation you can possibly go through this season. And if they can get there, again, I think there'll be a tough out for anybody. But I don't have too much time left on the show today. But I actually want to go back to what I was talking about in the beginning, man, because seriously, like, that was probably one of the more beautiful events as far as camp day that I've experienced covering this team. And, you know, I have a lot of critiques about the league and, you know, things that they can do better because I care. Like, that's why I have critiques. I have critiques because I care. And I think that these are some of the best basketball players in the world, and I want to see the game grow. So I have a lot of critiques. You know, if you, like, follow me on Twitter, I mean, you can see certain things that I suggest. I think they need to open the game up, you know, whatever else here and there. But seriously, I want to give a standing ovation to whoever created the camp day idea because, you know, one thing I've learned as I, you know, get older in life is that the kids are the future. Like, once you pass about 25, like, it's not really about you anymore. You know, it's about the new generation. And the kids are the future. And I think it's just a beautiful event for you to get that many kids in one building, watching basketball, enjoying basketball, and, you know, showcasing exactly what the league is about. You know, I think that's beautiful, man. And who knows, man? Like, all these camp days that the league is doing, who knows, man? You might have the next Diana Taurasi in the crowd, and you inspired her. And I think that shout out Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. Nip. He said the greatest human act is to inspire. And I think that the camp days will serve to be inspirational for the kids. And hopefully, man, like, hopefully somewhere in that crowd, we, you know, the next great WNBA player was. and I think that that's important, man. So again, shout out to all you guys for the support. Shout out to LA Sparks, and yeah, until next time. Love for you, love for you. You got me up so high, going down my mind for you. You got me up so high, going down